They say love makes you blind. And maybe they're right. I was so in love that I almost ignored the warning signs. Almost. Because what I found out one night, it changed everything. And it forced me to make a decision that would either protect me or destroy me. I made him sign a prenup. And believe me, he never saw this coming. But before I dive into this story, I want you to do something for me. Type. Grab your popcorn. Stay glued to your screen because this video is going to blow your mind. And if you haven't already, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel because you won't want to miss the stories I have coming next. Now let's begin. I grew up in a small town, the daughter of hardworking parents who taught me the value of persistence. Nothing was handed to me. Every dollar I saved, every step I climbed, came from my own sweat and sacrifice. By 28, I had built a career I was proud of, invested wisely, and even bought my first home. But when it came to men, I was cursed. I always chose wrong. The smooth talker who drained me financially. The sweet guy who cheated. The ambitious one who promised forever but vanished when things got tough. My friends used to joke that I had a broken radar for men. But inside it wasn't funny. I longed for love, but all I found was disappointment. So when he walked into my life, he felt like a miracle. He had a smile that melted me. A way of speaking that made me feel like I was the only woman in the room. On our first date, he whisked me away to a rooftop restaurant. Candles, city lights, soft music. He held my hand across the table, stared into my eyes, and I swear the world melted away. From that night he became my everything. Weekend trips to the coast. Flowers waiting at my door. Long drives with his hand on mine, talking about dreams, about a future together. He said things no man had ever said to me. You're my forever. I want to grow old with you. I had been starved of real love for so long, I soaked it all in. But my best friend, she wasn't buying it. Over wine one evening she said, "Girl, this is too fast, too perfect. Don't you see it?" I rolled my eyes. Not everything is a red flag. Maybe this is finally my happy ending. Her eyes softened. I just don't want to see you hurt again. Remember what happened last time? The charming ones. They're usually hiding something. I brushed her off. But deep inside, her warning stayed with me. Because little cracks had started to show. When I asked about his job, he gave vague answers. Investments, he'd say. Or, I manage properties. But whenever I pressed for details, he changed the subject. Then came the money request. First they were small. Babe, my card's acting up, can you cover dinner? Or, could you spot me some cash for gas? I'll pay you back tomorrow. Paid without thinking. That's what love is, right? Helping each other. But then the requests escalated. Baby, my rent's late. Could you help me out this one time? My business deal fell through. I just need a little until I bounce back. Each time he promised he'd pay me back. Each time he didn't. Noticed. Oh, I noticed. But then he'd shower me with affection again. Flowers. Surprises. Late-night whispers of "you're my everything." And then, he proposed. It was perfect. Candles. Music. His voice trembling as he said, "I can't imagine my life without you. Will you marry me?" I cried as I said yes. I thought finally my nightmare with men was over. But what I discovered next would shake me to my core. One night, everything unraveled. He was in the shower. His phone buzzed. I picked it up to order food. And there it was, a message that shattered everything. Did she take the bait yet? My heart froze. My hands trembled as I opened the thread. His friend was congratulating him, saying he had finally found a rich one. They weren't talking about love. They were talking about me, my career, my savings, my home. I scrolled further. Bank overdrafts, credit card debts, lawsuit. And then, the plan. Messages where he detailed how he would marry me, slowly convince me to sign assets into his name, and once he had control, he'd leave. Some messages went even darker. Once you've got everything tied down, make sure she can't cause problems. You know what I mean. Was it a joke? Or a threat? Did he plan to jilt me? Ruin me? Or worse, silence me forever? I sat in the dark that night, numb. Tears streamed down my face. I wanted to confront him right away, scream, throw him out. But instead I stayed quiet. I needed to be smart. From that moment on, I became an actress in my own life. Smiling when I wanted to cry. Kissing him when I wanted to push him away. Whispering, "I love you," while secretly searching for the truth. And the more I looked, the more I found. One late night, desperate for answers, I searched his name online. And what I found chilled me to the bone. Articles, old court records, anonymous forums. He had a past, a dark one. And then I saw them. The voices of women who came before me. One post read, "He was charming at first. Too charming. But when I tried to leave, he threatened me. Said if I walked away, he'd ruin me." I thought he was bluffing, until I found my car keyed and my boss getting anonymous emails about me. Another. He drained my savings. Promised to pay it back, never did. When I told him it was over, he snapped. I ended up in the hospital with a fractured rib. Please, if you're with him, run. And the worst one. He's dangerous. I tried to warn others, but he finds ways to silence you. If he's sweet now, just wait. He doesn't change. He only gets worse. I sat there, shaking, staring at the screen. These weren't just bitter exes. These were warnings. Warnings I almost ignored. This wasn't about love anymore. It was about survival. And that's when I knew the prenup was my shield, my proof, my trap. The next time he asked for more money, I stalled. The next time he charmed me, I smiled and played along. All the while I was waiting for the perfect moment. Suddenly, every moment of sweetness, every promise of forever, it all felt like a performance. This wasn't about love. It was about power, money, control. And if I wasn't careful, I'd be the next woman writing my story on that forum. That's when I knew I couldn't just walk away. Not without protection. If I tried to break it off, I could end up like them. The prenup wasn't just about saving my wealth. It was my shield, my proof, my trap. And the more I looked, the more I found. He would leave the house, dressed sharply, saying he was off to a business meeting. But one afternoon I followed. My heart pounding, I trailed his car into the city. He didn't go to a boardroom or an office. He parked near a dingy cafe, where I watched him meet with a man I'd never seen before. Papers exchanged hands. Voices raised. I saw him slam the table, frustration etched on his face. This wasn't business success. This was desperation. Another night, his phone rang while he was in the shower again. I saw the caller ID. Collections department. Collections. The kind of people who don't stop calling until you're stripped bare. The perfect man I thought I knew was nothing but a mask. And then, strangers started showing up. Once, a man came to the house, asking for him by name. He looked rough, dangerous. When I said he wasn't home, the man leaned in close and muttered, "Tell him he can't run forever." I shut the door with trembling hands. Piece by piece, the illusion shattered. Still I stayed silent, pretended to believe the lies. And all the while I collected every breadcrumb. My best friend became my confidant. Over late-night calls, I whispered everything I discovered. She begged me to leave him immediately, but I couldn't. Not yet. Had to be sure. I had to protect myself completely. The next morning I called a lawyer. I told him everything without names. The lawyer listened carefully, then said words I'll never forget. In a normal marriage where there's trust and transparency, a prenup isn't needed. But in your case, prenup could save your life. If he loves you, he'll sign. If he refuses, you'll have your answer. That advice gave me courage. Love anymore. It was about survival. And that's when I knew the prenup was my shield, my proof, my trap. The next time he asked for more money, I stalled. The next time he charmed me, I smiled and played along. All the while I was waiting for the perfect moment. Finally that night at dinner, I slid the prenup across the table. Said he, pretending it was nothing more than a formality. His face drained of color. The charm evaporated. His voice, usually so smooth, cracked with anger. A prenup? Are you kidding me? After everything, you don't trust me. I held his gaze. This isn't about trust. It's about protecting what I've built. If you love me, you'll sign. The silence stretched long and heavy. His jaw clenched. His hands shook. He tried everything, anger, guilt, sweet words, even tears. But I stayed firm. Finally, with fury in his eyes, he signed. But that's when things really started to spiral. Because once he realized he couldn't touch my money, he changed. The mask slipped completely. First came the guilt trips. You don't believe in us. You don't believe in me. Then the anger. You think you're better than me because of your money. And when that didn't work, the threats. Don't forget, marriage is about sharing everything. With or without that paper, what's yours will still be mine. But I wasn't scared anymore. Not after what I'd seen. Not after what I knew. Played his game. Smiled. Nodded. Pretended. All the while making sure my lawyer and my family knew everything. Then came his last desperate move. One night, he stormed into my living room with documents in hand. Sign this, he demanded. It'll make things easier for both of us. No more games. But I just looked at him. Said he. And I said, no. The shock on his face, priceless. For the first time, he realized I wasn't the naive woman he thought I was. And from there everything fell apart. His creditors closed in. His so-called friend abandoned him. Court notices piled up at his door. His reputation collapsed like a house of cards. The man who once seemed like perfection was left exposed. Nothing more than a fraud, a liar, a predator. And me. My savings. My assets. My home. If protected. He thought he was hunting me. But in the end he was the one trapped. And the scariest part. He never realized how close I came to falling for it. How close I was to losing not just my money but maybe my life. But here's what I've learned. Sometimes the greatest danger doesn't come from strangers, but from the people who hold your hand, whisper sweet words, and promise you forever. I used to think needing a prenup meant you didn't trust your partner. But now I know. In a normal, transparent marriage you don't need one. But when the cracks show, when you sense something is wrong, that paper can save everything you've worked for. More than that, it can save you. So to anyone listening, trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Love is powerful, but so is self-protection. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away before it's too late. And the night I made him sign that prenup was the night I chose survival over sweet lies. The night I chose me. And he never saw it coming. I owe my survival and triumph to those women who dared to speak about their stories on the internet. Without them, I wouldn't have known who the man I was going to marry was after all. Dear viewers, if you enjoyed this story, please don't hesitate to drop a comment like this video, and subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories. And guess what? The next story will leave you glued to your chair from start to finish. Watch out.